welcome back to hanging out with me. So I first just want to give a shout out to rompers with pockets. Hee hee hee. All girls love them. Anyways, so what I want to talk about today is retrograde. I'm sure by now we all have heard of Mercury retrograde. She's really made a name for herself out there in the internet world. And you know, everyone likes to blame their problems on Mercury retrograde. But believe it or not, all of our planets go into retrograde, except for the sun and the moon. So what is retrograde, you may ask? Retrograde is when our planets simply slow down in orbit. But to the human eye, that may look like the planet is going backwards. However, that's not what's happening. It's just moving a little slow. So we're going to start with Mercury retrograde first, since that's the one everyone seems to really hear about these days. So Mercury will enter retrograde 3 times a year, and it will usually last for about 3 weeks of time. So problems with communication, travel, and technology are really common during this time period. So before Mercury retrograde, be sure to back up your devices, try to schedule essential travel outside of this time, and try to schedule meetings outside of this time too. So when Mercury's in retrograde, you should plan for delays in travel. Don't sign contracts. It's important to observe your words. Mercury is in relation with communication, so just watch what you're saying and try to refrain from buying new technology during this time. So when you think Mercury retrograde, think RE. So that's redo, relax, renovate, rethink, you know, all of those, you get the point. So next is Venus. So Venus retrograde will happen every other year for about 6 weeks. So this is a time where relationships can get funky, and you know, your exes will just crawl back into your life and act like nothing happened and try to start again, you know. That's happened to me on many occasions in the past, and now I'm curious if that time is also correlated with Venus retrograde. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if it was. So if possible during this time, try to avoid getting married during this time, or signing contracts. This could be a time where clients can be kind of flaky, or maybe they're extra demanding during the time of when Venus is in retrograde. Venus retrograde is also a great time to organize your finances. Okay, next is Mars retrograde. Mars is really feisty. So Mars retrograde happens about every 2 years, and it'll last for approximately 2 months. So this is not a good time to get in fights or arguments. Like I said, Mars is really feisty. Also, if possible, try to refrain from starting a new job during the time of Mars retrograde if possible. Alright, so that was the inner planets, and so the outer planets retrograde about once a year, and it will usually last for about 6 months, so the effects aren't felt as prominently as the previous planets. So Jupiter retrograde is a great time to invest your energy in new things. So maybe you want to take an online course or take a new class that you're interested in. This is a great time to do all of those things. This is also a great time to read a book that's maybe been sitting on your shelf. If you're anything like me, you have a pile of books that you say that you're gonna get to, but you never do. So this is a great time to dive into those books, go on a journey, maybe a spiritual journey, and it's also a great time to examine the big picture of what you want your future to look like. Also during this time, try to avoid impulsive buying and shopping too. Okay, next is Saturn. So during Saturn return, look at all of the structures that surround your daily lives and really evaluate if what's working and what's not working. If something doesn't align, then this is a great time to reconnect and get back on track with your vision and what you want to create. Saturn retrograde is also a great time to reinvest your energy in any parts of your life. If you had been slacking on them, now is the time to really push forward and re-engage with those activities. And Saturn retrograde helps remind us that it's never too late to start over again. Okay, so we have 3 more planets left, and next is Uranus. So Uranus retrograde is all about like, where do you need to shake things up in your life? This is a great time to like take a leap of faith or step outside of your comfort zone. There's a lot of energy around that will like support you in that. And I mean, honestly, that energy is always around. And the universe will always have your back. When you do want to step outside of your comfort zone, you're surrounded by daily abundance, which is amazing. So next we have Neptune retrograde, and Neptune retrograde is a great time to kind of like unplug from the world. It's a really good time to go inward. And you know, during this time, maybe you want to start going back to therapy again and really focus on the inner world and unplug from the rest of the world. Neptune retrograde helps us like clear the fog, but during this time, if possible, try to avoid making big decisions, as your vision may be a little unclear during this time. But at the end of the day, Neptune retrograde does help us see clearly. And finally, we have Pluto retrograde. So this is all about learning to let go of control. It's also a great time to put your trust into the universe and examine how power plays a role in your life and how you respond and react to that power in your life. During Pluto retrograde, there's no better time for self-transformation and, you know, breaking habits, breaking addictions, and breaking negative thought patterns. And that wraps up the planets in retrograde. So now it's time to pull a card from the universe as your back deck. Awesome. I'm just gonna shuffle the cards here a little bit. Got the sun coming through, making some really cool shadows on the beautiful earth. Okay, let's go ahead and cut the deck 4 times. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Cool. We have, oh. I love this one. My energy creates my reality. What I focus on is what I will manifest. Here she is, all beautiful and cute. So this just goes back to like, honestly, everything that I've been trying to share on this YouTube channel. My energy creates my reality. What I focus on, I will manifest. So, ooh, pulled out a hoop. Where does bangle? Big hoops. So, right now, we have a lot of time to really redirect and refocus our energy and create the realities that we've always wanted to live in and experience. And I hope that everyone is doing that daily. And yeah, that's all we have for today. See ya!